Team is briefing the media on the outcomes of its weekend meeting. Let's take you there live.
Society for all. On the unity of the African National Congress, the NYTT declares itself as a unifying structure during a time of gravely factional political dynamics within the mass democratic movement. The disturbing recording of the last NEC meeting that circulated on social media is a clear indication that our movement is in trouble, and as revolutionaries we must rise to the occasion and play our part in restoring the order. We are happy that the ANC president agreed with us that the quality of debates in the NEC meetings of the ANC has deteriorated. And he has agreed that and also committed that all NEC members will go to a political school. We are also suggesting that Comrade Kotongwani and Comrade Tony Yengeni must be taken to the disciplinary committee of the ANC for their ill discipline and appalling conduct. We urge all members and leaders of the ANC at all levels to place the well-being and transformation of lives of the disenfranchised people of South Africa above their own personal interests. The motive forces of our struggle only have the ANC to rely on for their liberation, and we will not watch as elders tear our glorious movement apart. On local government elections, the ANC Youth League will work tirelessly in campaigning for the ANC towards the local government elections. The ANC must get to work and ensure that services as well as economic opportunities reach our people, as that is the only way to secure the people's vote. The times of door-to-door, where our volunteers have no answers to the economic plight of our young people, is over. We must give hope and inspire confidence that the challenges faced by the youth will be addressed. The ANC Youth League commits itself to working day and night to ensure that we win back our metros so that the People's Party can change the lives of the majority. We are sure that the ANC will secure a decisive victory, but we shall no longer give the ANC a blank check in this regard. On organizational matters, the ANC Youth League has been plagued with financial challenges since the gross financial mismanagement and grand-scale looting of its asset by the former NEC, which was disbanded in 2013. The NYTT will over the next few weeks urgently assess the state of its organization, including the financial and legal standing, as part of the road to a functional organization and ultimately a national elective conference. The NYTT further commits to developing a comprehensive program of action that will actualize the ANC Youth League 7 cardinal pillars and the clarion call of economic freedom in our lifetime. This program of action will include a process of continuous interaction with deployees of the ANC in cabinet to deposit dissatisfaction with the slow pace of resolving and implementing all matters of interest to the youth of the country. The NYTT further appointed Comrade Mlondolozi Mkhize as the national organizer, Comrade Sizopila Mkhize as the national spokesperson, and Comrade Tutugile Zuma as the national fundraiser. The NYTT further elected the following comrades to serve as members of the National Working Task Team: Comrade Precious Banda, Comrade Zileng Sobutongo, Comrade Anela Matuntuta, Comrade Kolani Mkoteni, Comrade Lesego Makubela, Comrade Sebang Mhlabi, Comrade Gumani Mukwebo, Comrade Fasia Hassan, Comrade Pinkimbele, and Comrade Eugene Manana. Long live the ANC Youth League, long live. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Coordinator. I will from here allow members of the media to ask questions if they have any, and the convener and the coordinator will then be able to respond to them. And by the way, just to say, we have some members of the NWC amongst us here, and members of the NTT are also amongst us here. Comrade Mbali, I saw you raised you. I'm sorry to call you a comrade, I'm used to it. I hope you understand. Mbali, Natasha, my brother, I'll learn your names as we go. Mbali.
Mbali from Eastern Africa. I saw in your statement you touched a bit on your conference, and one thing in particular that you have been tasked with is leading the youth conference. Did you talk about this? I'm sure you did. Is there some sort of roadmap in terms of when are we most likely to see this conference take place? do we know that it should be the next, I know that was the first meeting, of course, is it in the next 6 months, is it in the next year? Is there some sort of deadline you have given yourselves to finally have a significant conference?
Thank you, Mbali. This is Natasha.
I think Mbali found me on the first question. I heard you mention before life is okay. Can you just please verify how old is he? And furthermore, Joy, at the last case meeting, I think we asked you about the step aside resolution, what your stance was, and you said that you're still going to speak as members of the NYTT, so you're still going to be able to have. But the focus is something that the NYTT actually spoke about, and yeah, all the outcomes of that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Are you good?
I have a number of questions.
All right.
Can I field all of them?
Sorry?
I have a number of questions. Can I field all of them?
Yeah, please give us all of them. The convener and the coordinator are noting.
Thank you so much. Just following on from, my name is Govind from ENTA. Following on from what Natasha has been speaking about on the step-aside resolutions from the conference, do you consider them as applying to the NYTT of the ANC Youth League as well? At this point, are you aware of any of the NYTT members that are under investigation or will be charged, and will you be asking them to step aside if that happens? You brought the issue of Tony Ngeni and Ino Kodongwane into the public now, where you're calling for them to be taken to the disciplinary committee. Yet we haven't heard from the ANC what exactly they are accused of doing. There are off-the-record comments that the pair were recorded calling people outside of the ANC during the NEC meeting. What should they be taken to the disciplinary committee for? What did they do? You go a step further saying you're no longer giving the ANC a blank check. I understand the autonomy of the ANC Youth League, but in the context of the local government elections, what does the statement mean? Surely you're not threatening not to campaign for the ANC. I still have more questions. Can I take the answers and comment?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Maybe before I allow Comrade Convener and Coordinator, I don't know who's going to come first. I would request that we do not abuse the ANC Youth League and we do not abuse the convener and the coordinator. The ANC Youth League is an organization, does not have a resolution that is called Step Aside, and this is a media briefing of the ANC. I am humbly requesting that you at least put us aside on matters of the ANC and we focus on the task at hand and on what was entailed on the statement so that we do not abuse the convener and the coordinator. Thank you very much. I don't know who's going to start. Comrade Convener.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Nongai Bamshali. I'll answer some of the questions and I'll leave the others to the coordinator to obviously come in. The conference roadmap, one of the things that happened this weekend was the induction, where we had Comrade Khalima, Comrade former Deputy President of the ANC, Khalima Mutlante, doing an induction. We also had the SG of the ANC, who came to officially give us our terms of reference. And as part of our terms of reference, the ANC has given this task team 6 months to deliver the conference. We have obviously asked them that does the 6 months mean that we can come and ask for an extension if we can't meet the target, and they said that they would be open to that. But for now, the NYTT has been given 6 months to have the conference of the Youth League. On the issue of giving the ANC a blank check, essentially what we are saying is that for far too long has the ANC Youth League been used, well, not been used, but the role of the ANC Youth League in elections is obviously to mobilize the youth vote behind the banner of the ANC. But we are saying that beyond that, after elections, we want to see young people appointed in positions in local councils, in district councils, in provincial legislatures, and ultimately in the National Assembly, as well as in the executive. So when we are saying we're not giving the ANC a blank check, we mean it in the context that after we volunteered, after we volunteered our efforts to ensure that young people vote for the ANC must appoint young people, or must deploy rather young people into positions after the elections. We said that to the president as well. We said that we expect more young people to be appointed in the national executive. We're expecting young people to reflect in cabinet. We're expecting young people to reflect in parliament. Obviously there are some who are there already, but we're expecting a greater representation of young people, because young people can't just be volunteers who go out on the street, but then when it comes time to govern, we do not form part of the governance structures of the country. On the issue of calling for DC, we made it very clear to the president when he came to address us that what happened in the NEC meeting and the behavior of members of the NEC was embarrassing, and that everyone of them ought to be very embarrassed about what happened. Beyond the conduct of the NEC members, also just the fact that voice notes were flying around. So part of what we are saying is that the ANC must investigate what happened there. Who did the recording? How was it leaked? But beyond that, those comments that were made in that meeting, the people who said those things that they said must also come in account, because we can't have a national executive committee where we expect, when the ANC NEC meets, we are expecting the ANC NEC to be talking about problems of this country and how those are going to be solved. We're not expecting them to be howling insults at each other, howling slurs at each other, etc., etc. So really what we are saying is that the people who made those comments must come and account for them, and the people who did the recordings must account for those recordings, and the people who leaked those recordings as well must account for all of that, because we must ensure that the integrity of the organization is protected at all times. I think Comrade Sizo responded to the issue of step aside. I think comrades, when Natasha, sorry, I'm saying comrades, we are an appointed structure. The people who appointed us is the NEC of the ANC. We do not know, what that process entailed. So I think that it would be best for the ANC to be the ones, if there are questions of verification, etc., I think those questions are best to be answered by the people who appointed us and not ourselves, because then it would be very problematic for any one of us to call into question things that we do not know about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Convener, President. Comrade Coordinator says she's covered here. I know that you had follow-up questions. Natasha also has. You also have. Okay. Yes, let me start with Natasha.
Was there any discussion around the disbanding of... was there any discussion around the disbanding of regional and spiritual structures for the ANC?
Said here that the ANC Youth League is committed to working with SASCO. I'd just like to check whether there's a position on whether or not the ANC Youth League, as a leader of the Youth Congress Alliance, will be telling its other allies not to contest SASCO. So at the different campuses, what's the current position? And then I do think we need to get a comment on the ANC Youth League NYTT bemoaning the slow pace of the NYDA process and the role that's been played in the NEC in that process. What's your comment on the fact that a number of NYTT members are vying for positions as board members of the NYDA? And since you're not an elected body, you're an appointed body, is it appropriate for you to be commenting on the process of the National Youth Development Agency when some of the NYTT members were on the initial board and then which was withdrawn? I'd just like to get your reasoning on why you think you can interfere with this apparent clear conflict.
Thank you. Behind you, Aubrey. Behind you.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, is there among the NYTT now, is there a unison, in terms of your acceptance of the work, obviously, since the process is not the standard NYTT, is there a unison among yourselves in terms of accepting the work that has been done? I'm asking this because despite the fact that there has been a crisis committee questioning why that structure existed, but there were also internal squabbles about the regularity of the processes that were being done in lower structures, which even led to the division between the convener then and the coordinator. But I'm saying that what is your attitude to the work that has been done? Are you united in terms of accepting what has been done?
Fine, thank you. I think those are the three people that we had. Comrade Coordinator.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the questions that are posed. The first question on the disbandment of structures. The first meeting, NYTT, as a structure, we saw it in our collective wisdom fit to focus on a political induction, so that when we start the process of rebuilding the structure, we have been given the tools of trades in the form of a political education, and we have political clarity on how we should undertake that work. So we saw it fit to firstly appoint a working committee that will then accept the handover report, and not only accept it but process it. So there is going to be an assessment that is going to be made on our structures, and that assessment, obviously, we're going to ensure that our structures, especially the lower structures, are in line with the directive of the NEC that members of those structures must be 35 years old and below. We're going to ensure that aspect is featured when we then start the process of rebuilding. So we're going to do a serious, thorough assessment as the working committee, which will be meeting soon, so that we're able to come up. We didn't just want to do a half-cooked assessment and come here and take decisions.
Very good afternoon. Welcome to On Point. We're going to move swiftly on. The Africa CDC